This episode of Mighty Car Mods is proudly brought to you by My Socks. That's right, My Socks, but they could be your socks as well because we are very proud to share with you the Mighty Car Mod socks.
Made in Australia.
They're made in Australia. They come in a variety of sizes. They come in a pack of 2, but if you need 3, buy 2 packets and then you've got 1 spare.
You can put them on your feet, you can put them on your ears, you can put them on your hands and make sock puppets, or you could put them on your
nose.
RX-7, which is what we're working on today.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. This RX-7 has been a magical journey and it's going to culminate in the explosion of awesomeness that is today's episode. Martin, what is going down?
Well said. Well, last episode we put on the dyno, it spun up some healthy power. I drove it home, I had a freaking brilliant time doing so. And when I got it home, I'm like, there's only one thing missing, people, and that is some mad wheels, some mad suspension, that's more than one thing, and some mad brakes. So today we are going to overhaul the driveline underneath the car, make it awesome, dump it on its guts, and take it for a drive.
Now, there are a couple of awesome things that have to happen before we reassemble the car, mostly of which are going to be done by my friend Martin because I have just got a new car.
Another one.
It's come from Japan. It's not
amazing.
new at all. It's old and it's shit.
It's amazing.
But I actually have to do a bunch of organisation to get that ready. So I'm leaving Mighty solo for the first bit. Then I'm going to be coming back. We're going to reassemble it. It's all about the RX-7. It's all about my new car.
Today it's
right
Mighty
now.
Rotary Mods. Let's do it. I'm back working on the RX-7. I have it up on the hoist, which makes life very easy. And if you come around here, you will see a very beautifully restored set of original factory 13-inch wheels. They look really cool. They've been diamond cut. I'm pretty sure Mark from Barrel Brothers actually did these wheels. So full restoration job, repaint everything, and then the face is recut. They're in perfect condition. Got a set of Michelins on them as well, 13-inch Michelins, 185, 70, 13. I like them. Do I like them as much as a set of custom-made JDM wheels? No. So that's what's going to go on today. So just about ready to test fit up our wheels. 4x110 is kind of rare, which is what's on this car. It's really hard to find wheels. If you're lucky, you can get them custom-made, which sounds like a friend of mine is here to help with just that. How's the timing? Yeah. Hello, my friend. Fancy seeing you here.
Check this joint out.
It's like you heard it like the Batman signal. Like, you know, you heard someone was in need of wheels. Don't scratch that thing. Yeah, dude. Look at this. Look at this. That is just ridiculous.
Hey, go, buddy.
What have you got for me? Tell
I
me
have
it's
your
exciting.
wheels here in the back of the vehicle.
Oh, the big reveal. Oh, dude, they look so good.
Hey.
Oh my God, look at them.
Gonna look good on the car.
Look at them. Let's test fit. No, you should do the honours. Look at this.
Oh, you got wheel bolts.
You'll be right. You're right. Yes. That looks sick. Genuine XR4s. Tell me everything. Tell me everything. How did it happen?
All right, so we did the measure on the car. That was yonks ago, wasn't
Ages ago.
it? And then we've had a lot of trouble getting alloy because there's an alloy shortage.
Because this bit's new, right?
This was
this
new,
bit
yeah.
and that bit?
No, that's the original stuff.
That's new.
Center's all original. That's a new cap, new stickers, new bolts. We replaced the lips, but just in the standard size.
Yep.
So they're a 2-inch lip. We couldn't make the old ones look good. They were just garbage.
Yes.
But we had a lot of trouble getting them.
Because this part is the part that cops all the abuse, isn't it? It's gutters and whatever
Yeah.
else.
Well, the other thing is the original, because these are 35 years old or something stupid now, 40 years old, the original bolts tend to rust and then they pit the hell out of the alloy around them. So you just can't make them look good.
Yep.
So now...
So you think the history of these is this would have been rolling around on someone's car way back when? In the 80s?
Yeah, 80s, early
In the
80s.
80s?
These are from about 84 from what I can work out.
Awesome. So literally you could have had a 2-year-old RX-7
Yeah.
and gone down and got yourself a set of these.
Had a set of these on.
Amazing. And 4x110, aren't they?
Yep. So we re-drilled them.
What were they originally?
114.3.
Oh, okay, cool. So they were the standard sort of Datsun size.
Yeah.
Look at that. Do you want to see if a bolt will go through?
Where's your bolts?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Just so we can step back and admire it? I know we might need different hardware to make them work.
No, these will work.
You think they'll work?
Yep.
Cool.
We put the big seats in it, so it shouldn't be a problem.
All right, you put new seats in it as well.
Yep.
Amazing.
Look
at that.
Magnetic gizmo.
It's going to go, Mark. Have faith. Hey. Look at that. Sort of magically just aligns, doesn't it?
Look at that.
Look down here. You can see as well, firmly flush. And this is why when you are going to do slightly customised wheels, you want to make sure your measure up is up to scratch.
That's the trick to it.
And also, you can't go too wide. The other reason we can't go too wide is if you look here, it's going to be cutting it very fine with that as well.
So we can't do a big muffin top tyre on it because it's just not going to fit.
So this is probably because this is a 7-inch wide wheel.
7-inch wide.
Which probably means
15 by 7 plus 11.
Plus 11. I think I saw some stock settings, whatever you call it, sizes as plus 20, which would make sense.
Okay,
It were sort of 10 mil more.
But they were like a 13 standard on these. 13 by.
Later models had 15s, 14s and 15s.
Well, that's a standard wheel, isn't
Standard wheel 13s. I think Series 3 you could get a 15 on like a turbo, and they were plus 20.
Right.
So we're close.
And
Very
I'll
close.
tell you, the Series 3 had 114.3.
I know, wouldn't have had to re-drill. And you can update your car to fit your wheels. That is a possible way of going about it.
Yeah.
But this keeps it all legit. And so we're going to have a 195 tyre. We've got some Michelin Pilot Sport 3s that are coming in 195 50/15, which will just make it, I reckon, because it should be
Like pretty much
the
square,
tiniest bit.
sliders.
Yeah, which is what you want. So you still
Well,
get
it
grip.
depends on how low you're running it too. I mean, if you want it sort of dragging its guts down the road, you're going to have to go something small.
Yes. Anyway,
But like at a sensible height, it should be fine.
it's going to be great.
Not like the van.
No, the van's not sensible in any
No.
way, shape or form.
Nope.
Mark, they look so spectacular.
They come up well, don't they?
Stoked. So our tyres should be here hopefully tomorrow. So
Smash them on, man.
test fit, make sure it clears the shock. Tyres on. You can also see they make the springs smaller, probably to clear the tyres, don't they?
Well, they look, it's sort of offset too, off to that side. Isn't that weird?
Yep. But yeah, getting this fine-tuned, it's always tricky, isn't it, to get it fine-tuned within the offset being just right without it sticking in too far. Because I didn't realise when I was younger as well, it was always offset that made shit look cool.
That's it.
Because
It's all
you
in
look
the
at it and go,
offset.
oh, it's a 15, it should look really good, and then it would sit in too far or out too far. Getting this dialed in perfectly is where the magic is.
That's where the magic is,
Yep.
right there.
And the right amount of gap to get the right height, which I like to be fit as shoe in just.
I've got myself a set of Michelin Pilot Sport 3 in a 195 50/15. There's a few things to consider when choosing a tyre when you've gone with custom wheels. Firstly is the legality of what you're allowed to run in your state or country, which you can check on the tyre placard that's attached to your car. Secondly is the load rating, which is to do with the weight of the car, and then you want to consider the effects of the sidewall on both ride comfort and clearance to your guards and suspension. Width helps with grip as your contact patch is increased, but it's possible to go too big and make the car handle worse. A small change in tyre size can have a big effect on the overall handling. And being that this car makes less than 100 kilowatts at the wheels, I'm chasing good fitment that doesn't scrub, using tyres that grip well for when you want to have some fun.
All right. RX-7 back in Super Garage, ready for some more mods. Why is it not on the hoist? Two reasons. There's a 240Z in the way, but also we're about to pull some suspension out of this, which will essentially mean you can't move it. So that means you can't use the hoist for anything else. So all we're going to do is jack it up, pull out our struts, take them away. So on an RX-7, an early one anyway, the shock and the spindle at the bottom is all one piece, which means if you want to replace your shock absorbers, which this desperately needs, you have to actually undo this nut here, and there's an insert that goes into them. Those inserts, 40 years old, getting very, very hard to find. The rears are easier because they have commonalities with other cars, so the manufacturers are more likely to stock them. This is reasonably specialised, not that many people are replacing them these days. So my only option actually is coilovers, and I found a guy that can help me build a set using and utilising this bottom spindle. There's also a brake upgrade as well that we can look at, and even a steering rack upgrade. So I'm pretty keen to get these over to him, show him, find out what's possible, and hopefully upgrade our car.
The other basic option, of course, is lowering springs and new inserts. Those are fairly hard to find these days, and going coilovers will give me full adjustability to fine-tune how the car looks and drives with its mad new wheels. We're going to take the struts and one of the wheels over to the shop and test fit everything to see if it'll work.
So we have arrived in our trusty Hilux at Garage 48 to go and see Gavin, and Gavin does a whole bunch of rotary stuff, which I'm going to show you in a second, but we've brought the wheel with us to test fit to make sure that this is going to work before we go through all the effort of pulling our struts apart. Hey Gavin.
Hey, how you going?
I brought my wheel.
Beautiful.
Nice to see you.
Awesome.
What do you think? What do we do now?
All right, so what we'll do is we'll get the, we'll grab the disc,
Yep.
we'll sit the hub in it,
Yep.
sit the caliper on the disc, and we'll just lie the wheel down flat.
That way?
Yep.
So this is to make sure that the big brake kit will actually fit.
Yeah, to make sure the caliper's not going to hit the inner
It's going to be close, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty confident.
Come on. Oh, dude, is it going to work? Or is it rubbing? It's close, isn't it?
No, that's clear enough.
That's a really
Yep.
nice tight fit. So what size are these
So
discs?
that's a 294mm RX-7 disc.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
cool. So off a later model?
Yeah, off the FD.
Oh,
Yeah.
FD
So,
discs.
yeah.
Mad.
And that's a Willwood dust boot 4-piston caliper.
Yep.
So,
Oh, so it has the dust boots, which is what some people are always shitting
yeah,
on
that's
about,
right.
right?
There's
Oh,
no
I don't
point
know.
putting a caliper on there with no dust boots if you're going to drive on the street.
For
really.
sure.
So,
And this part?
yep. So that's a billet steel hub that we make.
Oh, cool.
Runs all the factory bearings and everything.
Yep.
So, and that's made to suit this disc.
And that means you can also do this in various stud patterns, right?
Yeah,
Because
correct.
do you just put that on a CNC or whatever and just drill it?
Yeah, so we can drill it 4 stud, 5 stud. Whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, so new studs, new bearing, new hub,
Yep.
new bearings.
New bearings. Yep.
Awesome.
New seals. Get a pair of braided brake lines.
Oh, unreal.
ADR approved.
Yep.
What else do we have? These are our caliper brackets. They're billet steel as well.
Yep. And that mounts to our original spindle.
Yeah, that's right. That bolts on, and it's got the bolt pattern for the Willwood caliper, and also the FD RX-7 caliper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if you change mine down the track.
Yep. And so, what's the reasoning? Why would you go with this setup as opposed to just chucking factory shocks back in? I mean, I couldn't find any, so that's reason one. But is there any other
That's
benefits?
one thing. Look, you've got adjustment. So you've got your base height adjustment with
Yep.
them. So you can raise and lower the car. You still got the same shock travel regardless of the height of the car.
Yep.
You've got dampener adjustment 36 way.
Oh, and camber
So
adjustment.
and camber adjustment as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So basically, coilovers in a car that's a bit harder to do. Now, normally you could just grab a coilover as like a McPherson strut, just clamps onto your hub, and that's that.
Yeah,
But it's
that's
a bit
right.
more like you need my original ones.
yeah,
What
correct.
was that?
Yeah, so we need to reuse the spindle
Yep.
because nobody makes an aftermarket one at this point.
Oh, okay.
So what we do is our sleeve, we cut the original tube,
Yep.
and then our sleeve's pressed onto it.
Yep.
So it's a tight fit, and then it's all welded and then powder coated.
Welded around the bottom, and you do all that here.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And so, what other Mazda? Can we have a look at some of your Mazda stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
This is awesome.
Gavin's very first car was an RX-2, which he still has to this day. He started making parts in his garage nearly 2 decades ago, but when neighbours started complaining, he decided to get out and get a shed, which is now full of mad projects.
So this is our original strut that came off. Pretty gross, probably very, very original and 300,000 Ks old. And the original disc. You can see the size difference just going to FD, like it's massive compared to that. But yeah, this will basically, strut will get sacrificed or exchanged as they called it in this business. And yeah, cut off here, new coilover put on, welded, powder coated, made to look nice, all the new stuff. So Gavin's got a couple of days work and we're gonna come back when he's finished and have a look at our new struts and then stick them in our car. Thank you, Gavin.
No worries.
Thank you for getting it done so quick. We're going to come back in a day or two and we're going to get those things and slap them back in the car. So while Gavin is working away on the shocks and the brake conversion, I'm back here. Now, the car has no wheels, so we can't move it. And sitting next to the car is a perfectly good hoist. So I'm going to move this car using this jack onto the hoist so we can get it up in the air because I've got a few more things that I'm going to install into this car. Our biggest risk when moving a car like this is running over a cable tie, because that will stop a jack in its tracks. It's easy to get carried away with all your shiny modifications, big brake kits and coilovers and stuff like that, and forget about some of the basics that are under all cars, particularly a car that's 40 years old, which warrants even more checking. That is sway bar linkages, bushings, radius rods, steering stuff, all those things can wear out, can get a bit grotty, and this car is no exception. It's had one or two little changes, like I think the rear sway bars had some bushes put in it at some stage. You can see various places where there's like one side's got aftermarket rubber bushings and one doesn't. So I've got a bunch of parts. I'm going to run you through what I've got and we're going to slap it in the car. The interesting thing about replacing bushes in your car as well is that a lot of these are shared between different vehicles. So a lot of the time, particularly with Whiteline, the part number doesn't say RX-7 on it because that potentially fits an RX-7, an RX-3, a GTR Skyline and a Pontiac Bonneville. So when you go on the website and you look up your car, it'll list a whole bunch of parts. Some of those are interchangeable between different vehicles. But what I have here is basically a full bushing kit for the car, anything that's available. So I've got lower trailing arm kits, radius rod, Watts link pivot. I don't think I have a Watts link. Control arm, inner and outer bushings, sway bar mounts, sway bar links, all the little washers to make all that work. And what is up here? Saddles for the sway bar and sway bar mount for the front. So the front and back. The front's got a really big sway bar on it. The back's got a really, really small one. Aftermarket sway bars for this thing used to be made. These days, not so much. So I'm going to work with the factory ones and just upgrade everything that attaches to them. I think I've also got a strut brace, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go through, look at what needs to be replaced on the car. If I can get to it and it looks even a little bit thrashed, I'm going to replace it. I'm not going to be wasteful. If there's something that's brand new, then I'll leave it. And then afterwards, we should have it handling pretty sweet.
Before I start removing everything, I'm going to give the bolts a spray with some WD-40 Specialist Penetrant. Some of these bushings look like they've never been changed, some have been updated and some are completely shot. From the Whiteline website, I chose my car from the list and got one of just about everything, so if it can be upgraded, it will be.
I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to start with the lower control arms. There's bushings in both ends. Paulie's going to start at the front. We may meet in the middle. We're going to get this done. So the decision has been made that we are going to repaint a bunch of these bits. They're okay, like for 40 years old, but this is only going to get worse if I leave it, and it's out, it's easy, it's in front of me. So as much as I just like to smash the bushes in and put it all back together, we are going to paint it. So this job just turned in from an arvo to 2 days. Here we go.
This sucks. Marty, you know we can sandblast that shit, right?
What do you mean? With what?
I just bought a sandblaster.
You're telling me this now?
I was going to tell you earlier, but...
That's the shittest job ever. The sandblaster.
You look like you're having so much fun,
not having
so I
fun.
thought I'd just leave it.
Where is it?
While Paulie gets his mad new sandblaster up and running, the rest of the suspension arms are going to come out. Everything is coated in a fine layer of surface rust and brown dirt. There are a few different ways we can refinish these parts. Professionally stripped and powder coated is probably the best and most future-proof way, but also the slowest, and we don't have that much time. Sandblasting and painting ourselves is quicker and a little cheaper, and we can do it all ourselves and have it ready to go back in within a day or so. The aim is to stop the rust in its tracks and make it nicer to look at and cleaner to work on.
So once all the suspension stuff is done, the car's going to have to go for wheel alignment. It's quite difficult sometimes when you put it all back together, the tires and everything can sort of go a bit squirrely. So what I like to do with the old stuff is where you've got adjustments, take a little ruler, just take down the measurements of where they are, write it down, and then at least when we set it back up, we can at least put it there, get the wheel alignment as close as possible so that it's not too bad when we take it through for wheel alignment.
I'm heating up the old rubber bushes to make them easier to squash out using the press. There's lots of ways you can remove these. You can set them on fire and melt them out, drill them, or just throw them at things. The new bushes are 2-piece and slot right back into the arm.
I feel like I've been to Summernats. There's so much burnt, smoking rubber happening here, but I'm nearly done. Well, things have progressed, as they often do. We're just going to install some suspension components. Now I'm like stripping back all this surface rust, which has really annoyed me the whole time, actually. We're also going to remove the rear diff for the same reason. Half the suspension stuff we need to get to is attached to it, so we are going to take that off the diff. Then it's only like 2 brake lines off to drop the diff down. We're on a hoist, this stuff's heaps easier. I'm also going to clean up anything here that's been sandwiched underneath a mount that some water's gotten into and it's rusted. Surface rust, I'll rust convert that and then repaint it before we put it back on. We'll blast everything, paint it, put it back together. And the underside of the car should look really good because that's sort of the only thing that was letting it down. The top looks really nice, underside always looked a little bit rough, so just got a little bit more complicated. So the aim here is to grind back any loose material. There's a whole lot of surface rust over the whole thing, but I mean, that's perfect for rust converter because it's just a very light layer of surface rust. The problem is this has been painted over and it's only just started to come through. So if I grind back all that black paint, there's pretty much surface rust you can see under the whole thing. So what's happened is someone's just quickly sprayed it when it already wasn't in very good condition. It hasn't treated the rust first. So that sucks, but that's okay. We're going to pull off everything we can pull off to treat that, blast that, and then paint it. Anything I can get to here to sort of scrub back and do properly, I'll do myself. Diff is out. The scope definitely crept a little bit with this one, but it's going to be worth it because we're going to be able to replace all the links in our Watts link, and we can also replace all the bushings in the entire rear end of the thing, as well as clean up the diff, which does look super crusty. So we're going to throw a bunch of parts in our blaster, blast them up, paint them, and then when that's all dry, put our bushes in and reassemble the whole lot. See you in a little bit.